Hello and good morning to everybody. How's everybody doing?
Well, this is Corinne.
How are you doing, Corinne?
I'm good.
I want to know because I when I write, I like to write very descriptive. And in reading your paragraphs, Corinne, I'm going, oh my God, I have met somebody who can paint a room just like I'd love to.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I couldn't agree more. I really tried on those descriptions. I was really trying to do some world building for the readers.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, I want to be able to smell the room, and and words are the only thing that's going to make that happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to be able to see it, smell it, touch it, picture yourself there.
Absolutely. As that writer, when you're sitting there and you're typing it all out, how does a scene come together for you? Because that to me is when you start building those those sets and stuff like that inside your mind. That's where the perfectionist kind of steps in.
Absolutely. I think it through and I'm building the scenes in just short form first. So I do just a sentence or two and then I sit down and flush it out top to bottom. I'm there. What do I see? What do I smell? Like you said, what am I doing with my hands? So that's how it all comes together.
So you basically act it out before it becomes a paragraph?
Yeah, in my mind.
Yeah. Oh, see, I love that kind of writing.
Thanks.
The book we're talking about is An Audacious Woman. This is going to be the first of 3 books. I mean, you're opening up our imaginations, aren't you?
I hope so. And I think the setting is so compelling in this particular series of books. It's a $70 million Gilded Age mansion in Manhattan, but it's modern day. So it's one of the few that have survived over time. And I hope that people's imagination comes alive in this mansion. It's really important to as a part of the setting.
Well, it activated my wife's imagination. She said, oh my God, it sounds so scary.
There are secrets there. You can't, even with a place from 1900, you can't help but have secrets. In fact, there's a fun cat character that leads you into mischief.
So now when you say the mystery and things, I mean, I've heard rumors that there are some Easter eggs throughout this story. Should we be looking for them, or does it just come into play on its own?
Oh, it comes into play on its own. In fact, you kind of see those Easter eggs out in the second and third book.
Okay.
And yeah, like the cat brings you into one area, and one of the contestants who are fighting for this mansion, they discover something really haunting about Eleanor's past. Eleanor's the main character. She's this audacious, spicy woman who wants nothing more than to get out and travel the world. And so she's giving away this mansion for free. She's just trying to choose the right person.
And it's not just Eleanor, it's Eleanor Beaufort. I like the way that those 2 names come together.
Yes, Eleanor Beaufort. It's a very traditional name, which is what I was trying to get across. But, when she was growing up, it was a hard time to be a breakout woman, and she did it anyway. So it's really a lot of fun to watch her and how she behaves and how she influences and kind of mentors the other contestants.
And one of the things that you face, and this is the reality of the real world, is the way that Eleanor wants to get on with life. I mean, she's ready to go explore and to have some fun. There's many families today that are doing the same thing. My wife and I would love to do that, but we're so attached to our home and forest that our RV trip is the only thing that we can do. But what Eleanor does, she's going to give it away to a contestant and not a family member.
And absolutely. Her family members, the ones that are still surviving, have burned all their bridges with her because she's tried to be this independent, cheeky woman, and she's being her full self. And so she thought, you know what, I want to give this away to someone who's actually going to take care of it, right? So you are, you traveling in your RV and stuff. If you had someone who would really take on your legacy and make it into something incredible, well, then that might be a person you'd like to give your hope to,
See, I can relate with that because in 1997, we planted 1,700 trees in this forest that we live in. And it's one of those things where, I want to sell this so they can chop down these beautiful living creatures?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I understand what you mean. I've got a good friend of mine, Geraldine Brousseau, who she founded Peace Trees Vietnam, and they planted trees in the old minefields in Vietnam. And her legacy is also super important. Wow, well, that's good, great work that you've been doing there, even just for our environment locally.
Well, yeah, and it really does help, and that's what I want. The goal, really, in all honesty, is that one day I'm going to win the lottery or something, and I'm going to turn it into a writer's paradise where writers can come and just have a place where they, like Walden's Pond. I would love to have that.
Yes, I love that idea with the serenity in the trees. I can see it now.
Now, where was your writing space? Because, we all have our own little areas where we love to write. Where did you get your energy? Do you go into the same zone?
I do. I make myself write every single day. That's a common thing. You hear it, but it really helps. And I sit down at my desk, and I did make my space in my office pretty serene to do that, right? Nice lighting. It's just the right vibe. I've got a couple inspirational pieces. I've got a little pin that says "She persisted" up there. And, just things that make me feel good and kind of get my mind in that positivity flow.
Inviting listeners to become a part of your conversation inside this book. You talk about feminism, activism, racism, and so much more. You bring the real world into that story.
I do, because a story, a fiction novel especially, is a safe space for people. Mm-hmm. And so I bring forward controversial topics that are discussed between these contestants who are very different, so that people can see what it looks like to have cordial conversations about dicey topics. And like I said, it's a safe space to do that. They're fiction characters who've got no skin in the game. But it is fascinating to see them bring up these things that normally you wouldn't bring up in polite society.
Is it a cool thing to be an audacious woman? Because, you share 5 tips.
Absolutely. It's cool. Wear what you want. I can't tell you how much time I've spent just trying to dress for the meeting or dressing for other people. Wear what you want. If you're going to be on TV, okay, put some thought into it. But, other than that, next, I think people should listen to advice, consider it, but feel free not to take it.
Yeah.
Sometimes your own intuition is the best thing to listen to. And then don't feel... Yeah.
I was going to say, I can so relate with that, because I always tell people that my career began 36 years after my radio station first job. It's like once I got out of radio, then that was it. Then it was time for me to do my career.
Exactly. And you knew that, and you felt that in your soul. And then don't feel like you have to follow traditions. Go ahead and buck convention, buck society, do things like maybe just a little unusual, but they really, really work for you. I don't know if you've got any parents out there listening of smaller kids, but I like to eat before my kids come home so that I'm a better parent. Yeah. You got all this advice telling, you have to eat the meals together at a table. No, I'm a much better parent when I feed myself first. So you think about that. You think about that in the airplane, right? Put your mask on first. Well, there's plenty of examples of that. And a lot of times those examples are bucking convention or society.
See, that's the reason why I like to cook in the kitchen, because I like to sample that food before anybody else gets anywhere near it.
Absolutely. And it's delicious, and your blood sugar is all evened out. You don't get a case of the hangries for other people.
How did you develop the characters in the way that, because I like to, I'll get pictures of people and I'll draw the characters around that. How did you get the images and then build it?
Interesting you asked that. So I got I knew what Eleanor looked like in my mind. She actually came to me in a dream. And that's why I thought, oh gosh, I got to write this book. I was still working in tech at the time. And I thought, well, she's so remarkable. I can't wait. So I knew what she was like, and I knew what she looked like. For the other characters, I did some research, and I was intentional to make them look different. So they're in different ages, different genders, different income profiles. So it was really an intentional play to make them very diverse in that way.
Let's talk about those contestants, since you drew them out just like that, because one of the biggest questions that you've got is, are these contestants safe, and is Eleanor sane? Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Are they safe is a big question, right? They're competing, and they stay in this house for 30 days. And so they're out of their normal atmosphere. They're in Eleanor's world. And you have to wonder, is she pulling something tricky? And at one point, she does go through some passages, old servant passages, and she looks through people, and they're being spied on.
Yeah.
And then you've got just the contestants competing with each other, doing sort of tricky things behind each other's back. So it really keeps you following along in this fast-paced way.
Do you want to have this turn into a reality game show, or would you rather have a 10-part series on Hulu?
Oh my gosh, Hulu for sure. I would be so honored. In fact, you focus on writing with your work, and I'm doing my pitch right now for a book to screen. So we'll see if it ends up on Hulu or any other network or TV or the movies. You never know.
Now, the listeners are going to learn as they dig deeper into your stories that you come from the world of tech. And we know that the world of tech right now has a best friend or an enemy, and it's called AI. Are you using any of that as a tool?
Let's get into this. This is the biggest question out there. And writers, as you know, are just really upset about it because nobody wants to be replaced by a bot, right? But yes, I use AI, but I use it in a very particular way, just for research. So one of the greatest things about AI is, especially historical fiction, you can look up what really happened in our history and have it return your answer in just an instant.
Yeah.
That could take you hours at the library or at the screen. And so that's the way to use a tool. Another way to use the tool is agents and submissions. You're thinking, what do you mean by that? Well, I could do a query that says, tell me 10 agents for historical fiction that are accepting submissions right now. Return to me the results, and it will give you names and websites for those people.
Wow. See, nobody ever talks about the positive side of AI. It's always the evil, dark side.
Well, yeah, you're right. There are some things I don't think you should use AI for. The writing itself is one of them. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to using AI for writing to plagiarize by accident, because that's how AI works, right? It's a database training model, whether it's using the training data available on the internet or available in books. It's already been written before, and it's taking concepts that exist and putting them together for you. And that's how the writing works. So I really do not recommend using that, because you could be unintentionally plagiarizing. Same thing for cover art. It's just not quite there yet. Mm-hmm. People can tell it's odd. You've got 6 fingers on one hand, and it's just not high quality. Artists exist because they're creative, and they're really good at being creative within the realm of possibility that makes humans feel like it's relatable.
Yeah, because it goes back all the way to Mark Twain making the comment that he says authors should use their own accent as writers. And I'm so afraid that AI is going to take away that accent, because we all write from the regions that we live within. We have the street slang, or we'll go out and we'll do the research on how we're forming words or what a thought is. And AI can't do that.
Absolutely. And it's your tone of voice. And it's the reason we all fall in love with certain authors, right? You like reading their cadence, their prose, they've got the personal background to inform their writing. And in this book, Eleanor's a cheeky so-and-so, and I want to be Eleanor when I grow up. So I'm writing as if this woman exists, and it's who I want to be, and her tone of voice is what makes it so compelling to read. So you have to keep that. Mark Twain's right.
I got to give you kudos on one thing, and that is I love the fact that you did a book video. In other words, you did a trailer, and not too many authors are doing that.
They're not, and I think more should, especially if you've spent the time to do your world building and your descriptions of the setting and the rooms and stuff like that. You can give people a little taste. And, people are so visual these days. Like you said, Hulu and every other, people are streaming lots and lots of content. So video is king right now, and the movies know it, right? Every time you go to a movie, you've got the 20 minutes of previews before you see the movie. Why not a book? And books are doing this. Typically, it's big publishing agencies, but I think self-published authors should give it a shot too. There's a lot of software out there that they could use. Absolutely.
Where can people go to find out more about you and give you some love?
Audaciousbook.com, or please follow me on Instagram. It's Corinne Cava is my handle. So CorinneCava.
I love it. Please come back to the show anytime in the future. You've got 2 more books to follow, so I expect to talk to you in the future.
I would love that. Thanks so much.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
You too.